Okay, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. The various boards and committees representing the town of Grafton will conduct their public meetings and hearings via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members or the public will be permitted. Now, all right, I think that's sufficient. Feel free to start, Bill.
Well, we'll open up the meeting, and since we have Norm here, is Ted with us too?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Ted. So we'll deal with that with the Unitarian Church and their ramp first before we get on to the rest of our stuff here.
Sounds good.
So thank you for going up to the church and making some more drawings. Appreciate that. I personally, I prefer option, I guess it's 3, the Peace Garden option. I like the fact that it's kind of recessed into that little area there. The only thing I'm not wild about is the roof. Norm, did you say you were planning on putting your idea was to have a roof that would cover the 2 ramps, but would not be attached to the building? Is that right?
Because of the concern about ice and snow coming off the church roof, we'd have to put a roof over this ramp if we built it in that area. Also, we would lose the Peace Garden, and we've a number of families that find refuge, that that's a wonderful place for them to go and find peace. But yeah, we would have to put a roof over it. We couldn't risk letting stuff come off the roof of the church and hitting people.
So would you have like uprights on the side of the ramp and have a sort of a gabled roof on top of it?
Yeah, I think that would be the most economical way to do it.
Okay.
Also, we don't own all of that property. We own almost half of it. And the ramp would be 5 feet going away from you and 5 feet wide coming towards you. So it'd be 10 feet overall width. So we would encroach onto the town's property by about 4 feet.
Yeah.
And I think we would also potentially block the window to the minister's office.
I don't
Close.
No, it wouldn't go back that far.
Wouldn't go back that far.
Okay. No, it's only going back a total of 10 feet, 5 feet of ramp and then 5 feet of landing. So it would only go back 10 feet total.
Okay.
So this is John Morgan. I agree with Bill Nicholson that my preference is option 3 as well. The question that I had, I'm just looking at the sketch, and it says for the roof, you're looking at putting the roof over the 2 sections of the ramp that's closest to the sidewalk. If you're worried about the snow and ice, would you not have roof over the entire structure? Or am I reading the drawing incorrectly?
Yeah, I think you're reading it wrong. We would put the roof over the portion that is between the church and the townhouse. We wouldn't put roof over the portion that's over the front door.
Right. So the section that would sit in the area that's the Peace Garden now, that entire those 3 parts of the ramp would have the roof.
Yes.
Over it entire.
Yes.
In total.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the entrance ramp, the landing, and then the exit ramp back towards the street. That
Okay.
entire structure would have to be protected from snow and ice.
Okay. All right.
I would like to take a minute to speak to you about the option that comes straight out towards the street. That option would be almost invisible because most of it would be at ground level. First, picture a sidewalk going from the street to the front, to that door, straight towards that door. And it would be all out of concrete, except the last 4 feet would be a bridge of wood. And then we would fill either side with dirt and loam and seed it, so it'd be lawn either side. So as you stood in the common and looked at the church, the only thing you would see would be the handrail on the left side and the right side. And it could be just a black handrail with just 2 rails. You wouldn't have to have all the balusters because you don't have to worry about anyone falling off of the ramp, because it's ground level to your right and ground level to your left, all the way between the street up until you get to that last 4 feet. And that last 4 feet would have handrails and balusters. So I don't know if you can picture that, but just picture the ramp going up to the front door and then slope down on either side with lawn. Now we'd have to rework the sidewalk. Right now, the sidewalk cuts right across the front of the church.
Yeah.
In this case, the sidewalk would have to come out towards the street by the curb, follow the curb across the front of the church, and then join the existing sidewalk at the middle of the church.
Does anyone have the drawing that we could look? I mean, I know it was rough, but it might be helpful to see that. Anyone can share right now. I've made it so that anyone can.
It was an email sent to us on the 20th of February, if that helps.
See, this particular ramp would be 100% on our property. We wouldn't have to get any easements from the town. And I know you mentioned that you could help us with that, but separation of church and state, I just don't see how that's going to be possible. You know?
You already have an arrangement with the town for your dumpster.
Yeah, the dumpster is a movable object. This is a structure, and I'd be very reluctant for us to undertake construction on property we didn't own without some kind of formal legal permission or easement to do so.
Oh, you would have to have that, but the town did that with you already. The pad and all, and the fencing around the dumpster is on your property, but the town pays for the dumpster and make sure that it gets emptied, and all you guys get to take advantage of using it. So it's a great partnership. So all I'm saying is there's precedent for that, but I do agree with you that it's cleaner if we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Bill, can you share that drawing, Bill?
I'm trying to find the drawing right now. So if anyone else finds it ahead of me, you can.
I can't because it's on my desktop, but that is not what I'm using because the speaker doesn't work on that. So I'm using.
Just give me
Jeff,
a
do you have
minute
the
or two.
sketch, Jeff?
I know I have it. Well, actually, last time we didn't have that, so they're new.
Jeff, you don't have it, do you,
Just
Jeff?
printed here in front of me. But
No, I do not have the sketch.
Hold on, I can forward it from my phone. Just continue the conversation and I will find it while we're talking.
Yeah, it definitely would require reworking the sidewalk.
Yes, yeah, but that's all the church's property, so we wouldn't need any permission from the town. And it would make it more like a public sidewalk because it would follow the curbing rather than cutting across the church's property. And I've shot the grades. The grades would work. A 1-on-12 slope brings you down towards the street. Within about 6 feet of the street is where you meet the current grade. And so the sidewalk would come around, and as the sidewalk got to the ramp, you'd have the handicap ramps going down to that pad. It'd be like a 5x5 pad right at street level, right at the street. And then the sidewalk would go up 1-on-12, all out of concrete, right towards that door. And then we'd fill either side with loam and just seed it. And so you'd have nice lawn either side of this ramp going towards the church. And as you stood at the street, you wouldn't see a ramp. All you'd see is lawn and a sidewalk.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it would be the least visible from the common because there's not really the structures involved with the other options, either our original option or going to the Peace Garden or any of the others. So it minimizes the visual impact, and it's mostly a sidewalk and landscaping reworking, which are not really, from what I read, authorities are sidewalks and landscaping really don't fall within your purview precisely.
That's true. And it would probably be a least expensive option as well.
Yes, it would be, yes.
Mhm.
Is that correct, that if we did this sidewalk thing, that we wouldn't need your permission? Is that correct?
Well, we don't have any control over sidewalks, or grass or that sort of thing.
The ramp structure, yes.
Yeah, the ramp we do.
Yeah, but that last 4 feet would be hidden from view, because as the grass goes up, I mean, it's only going up, I think it was 14 inches. So that 14 inches from the street to the building would just appear to be a very slight slope. And you wouldn't see it.
It's a
So
ramp structure, correct?
this is, what's on the screen now is option 1, which is
The original, right?
the ramp to the ramp
Is this
to
it?
the. No,
No.
go back to option 1 there.
This one?
That's it right there. So
See if I can rotate
just take a
this.
minute, let your eyes focus. So the street is vertical on the right-hand side of the drawing. The townhouse is at the bottom of the drawing and the church is at the top left of the drawing. And so right now, as you come off the church porch, I mean, the townhouse porch, you come down some steps or you come down a ramp. And that shows to scale where those stairs are, where that ramp is. And so you can see there's a nice, large, already concrete area that goes out towards that striped area for the, yeah, there you go. Now we turn it sideways. Okay, that's good. And then you can see the ramp right there. You've got your crosshairs. That's the ramp that goes straight into the church. Now the sidewalk to the left of the ramp would be new, and the sidewalk across the front would be new, until you get to the existing sidewalk that comes off the middle of the church stairs. And then that area left and right could be lawn or landscape with shrubs or. And then this would not be in danger of any ice or snow coming off either the church or the townhouse roof. It's solely on the church's property. The property line is about halfway between the townhouse and the church. And it comes out all the way to the street.
How far out does it or stick out, I guess, from the, how far out does it start from the church?
The ramp?
Yeah.
12
Well,
feet.
right in front of the door, there's a 5x5 landing. That's dead flat. And down by the street, there's a 5x5 landing that's dead flat. And the ramp is the entire length in between those two landings. So
Would the ramp
5x5,
be, what would you probably mentioned this before, but I missed it. What would the ramp be? Would it be concrete? And then you said there was a wood section that close to the church?
yeah, that probably that 5x5 ramp would be out of pressure treated wood. And then
5x5 landing, actually.
Yeah, 5x5 landing would be made out of pressure treated woods. And it would rest on the concrete near, going towards the street, but on the building, it would be bolted to the building. And it'd be like a bridge. That last 5 feet would be a bridge. And so the grade drops down because you've got your foundation. You can't bury your foundation. You can't have any dirt up against the wood. So that last 5 feet would be at a lower grade so that the foundation and the wood could breathe and last. But from the end of the landing close, going towards the street, from there to the street would all be filled. And like I said, at that landing, it's about 15 inches, and at the street, it's 0 inches. So it's not.
So that's going to be a concrete ramp, not a metal ramp. Is that right? Or aluminum ramp?
Yeah, just to do it all out of concrete and lasts for a long time.
Yep. Okay. Just want to be clear on that.
Personally, I think this is an elegant solution, Norm.
Thank you.
Instead
it's-
of grass on either side, what about bushes on either side? Because you're going to have railings that are going to be
Only at the
very,
end, only at the very end will there be railings where the bridge is. And you can have landscaping on either side. They've got a lawn and then landscaping to the left.
Well, and the railings will be on both sides of the poured concrete as well.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
but you
that
don't
the-
need balusters, you said, right?
Don't need balusters,
Right,
the
right.
double railings because it's over a 5% grade, as Norm said.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't fall off this ramp because the grade either side is level with the ramp, so.
But the railings also help for people who are mobility impaired. I mean, that's the whole reason for doing this. So
Mhm.
the idea of having the railings is once you put people on a bit of a grade, even though it's a gentle incline or decline, they need to be able to have a rail to hold on to as they make their way up or down that ramp. So it's a safety factor for the people that need it.
Yep.
Right, but what I'm suggesting is putting your privet edge on either side of this to help disguise the railing.
We could have plants, plants or flowers or shrubs, we could.
I'm sorry, I missed this, but where does the railing begin? Does that begin out at the entrance to the ramp by the sidewalk?
Yeah, well, let me start it by the church. So where the door is, you'd have a railing from the door all the way down to that 5x5 landing next to the street. The 5x5
Okay.
landing at the street would not have any railings around it.
Would you have one on both sides?
Yes, yes. Now the sidewalk that starts over by the Peace Garden, over by the townhouse, that sidewalk is almost dead flat coming along the hatched lines and out towards the 5x5 landing, and it's almost dead flat going over to the existing sidewalk over on the right, and then the existing sidewalk is almost dead flat. So we're fortunate in that the terrain here is very flat.
You have one tree to remove, don't you know?
Yes, yeah, and unfortunately, this proposed ramp would take down that one tree, which is pretty nearly dead now, but there's some serious disease and dying of this tree right now.
Yeah, it's
It's not
probably
the
gonna have
help-
to come down anyways.
Yeah.
Would you consider, this drawing doesn't show this, but if you can envision the whole front of the church and the sidewalk in front of the church, we had talked about the previous plan of having the ramp come into North Street side. If you were to swing that sidewalk down in front of the church, so it would match what you've got here. I'm not sure, probably not describing it very well, but so it just flow a little bit better than having to come up the old sidewalk and then suddenly take a 90-degree turn to the left, walk a few paces and taking a 90-degree turn to the right to go past this ramp. Do you understand what I'm saying? Could
Are
you?
you asking me, could we keep this design as it is, but then in front of the church center sidewalk, bring a new sidewalk from there over to where the sidewalk curls around the bushes? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, that's a possibility, yeah.
That might look better and just be easier for
Yeah.
people that are walking.
Yeah. Yeah, that way you'd be walking up along the bushes, coming from the right side there, and you just walk out towards the front of the church and around, or you could walk towards the front door and just keep that sidewalk that's there now that brings you to the
Right,
front door.
right.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, we want to maintain the access to the front door for those people who are able to navigate those stairs and able to come in through that front double door when the weather conditions allow.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
for sure.
We want to
Yeah.
maintain that.
Yep, definitely. I think it's just saying for people that aren't intending to walk into the church, that are walking on the sidewalk, so they don't have to do all these gyrations to walk around the ramp, just
Right.
have the sidewalk, stay close to
Right.
the curb and then merge with the existing sidewalk just beyond the edge of your building.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like this idea.
John Morgan, John Stevens, Brad, what do you guys think?
I can live with this. I would, before we take any type of vote, I think we need to see some detailed drawings with proposed materials.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to go down and just stand in front of it and try to visualize it myself. I'm trying to do it in my head, but I'm not that good at that.
Another place where
There
you
are some
could look is,
snowbanks. The snowbanks are melting, but there are snowbanks.
well, another place you could look is I built a ramp like this at my office at Land Planning at 214 Worcester Street. And as you drive by the building, you'd never know that there was a ramp there.
214.
The 214 Worcester Street. Feel free to walk right out and take a good look. And
Is that
as you
North
walk-
Grafton, Norm?
Yes, yes,
Just
yeah.
past Hollywood Gardens there?
yes, yeah, right next
Yeah.
to Noel Motors, sort of diagonally across from Danielle.
Yeah, okay.
And feel free to walk right up the sidewalk and take a look, and you don't even notice the change in grade. We've got shrubs either side of it, and as you drive by, you'd never even know there was a ramp there.
I might do that tomorrow.
Feel free.
I like this idea. I just think that it's cleaner if we don't have to deal with encroaching on town property and,
Yeah, that.
and
that
still
roof
achieve
would look-
minimalizing the impact of having a ramp there, which I think this does. So where would the balusters be needed? Just at that square part at the end?
Yes,
Closest to
just
the
in,
church?
just in front of the door, just that bridged area, that 5 by 5 foot area. Yeah.
The balusters would be on the left and right sides, Norm.
Yes, because you got a change in grade there of 15 inches, so someone could actually fall off that. That's like a little bridge there.
Yeah.
This will, I just happened to be in a church coffee hour Zoom thing last Sunday, and one of the women just happened to remark, "Thank God for that peace garden," she said, because my children and I, we go there every week. We go there every week. We love the peace garden. Thank God for the peace garden during this COVID period. I thought to myself, oh my. I know.
Well, that is a consideration. I remember, I think that's the Alice Fallon Peace Garden, if I remember correctly. And she was a wonderful woman and very, very close friend of my grandparents. So I would hate to eliminate that if we could possibly avoid it.
Yeah, so this would allow it to stay as is. Yeah. So Ted,
well-
you mentioned we also have to run this idea by the board at the church.
I've shared the sketches, Norm, with the board and some other people, but we were going forward with our original proposal that we had done the survey and design work over on the right side. And so some people have in mind that that's what we're going to do. So if we're doing something different, we just need to make sure the people in the congregation are informed.
Yeah, and make sure when you explain that to them, Ted, that the next step is to put the lift just inside this doorway here.
Right. And we've thought of that, and we still are thinking of doing that. The other thing we might do, and this would be true of any option, is that the door hardware itself is right now there's a door knob, and I believe we have to switch to a lever. And we're also looking at possibly having the handicap accessible push plate to actuate a power door to cause the door to open and close remotely to allow for easier ingress and egress from people in wheelchairs or scooters or power chairs. So those are things that we're also contemplating as part of this, just so you're aware.
And that push plate could be located easily on that 5 by 5 ramp and left or right on the railings.
Yeah, just as you get up on it, have it right
Yeah.
there, and they can press it and the door will open and they can
Yeah.
walk right in.
Yeah, whatever.
Or roll in.
We have to be, obviously have to be compliant with the handicapped accessible codes as we do this.
Yep. We have that on the townhouse as one of the push buttons like that, like what you're talking about.
So we have another meeting in 2 weeks on the 18th. No, wait a minute. That's not right.
It is the 18th. That is right.
Is it? Oh,
Yep.
yes. I hadn't changed my calendar over to March.
It's the same from month to month because of February only having 28 days.
Ah. Okay, so we're we will have another meeting in 2 weeks. Um, And that hopefully will give you time, Norm, to give us a little more detail in terms of materials and so forth.
I will. I will have a more detailed drawing for you in 2 weeks, and I think I'm leaning towards Ted. I haven't run this by you, Ted, but Ted, the townhouse, the ramp and the sidewalk, they all have that, it looks like blocks, like they're individual blocks, but it's actually it's what they call stamped concrete.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of using that same thing for this new sidewalk and ramp.
Yeah, just get somebody who knows what they're doing, because they didn't know what they were doing at the townhouse. They didn't do a very good job, but it can be beautiful. And you can talk to Craig Dauphiné. He may be able to assist you with some design help and whatnot on that
Great.
as part of his role with the association, the concrete association, because he actually came to us offering those services for the
Oh,
common.
good, because that would make this all consistent. It would all flow.
And
Yeah.
that- that may be a good idea. We do have one congregant who has used a wheelchair. She's actually right now not in need of using a wheelchair because she's had some improvement, but she was talking about and expressed concerns about concrete and in terms of slipperiness and traction and things of that sort. So I would want to make sure whatever we do by way of concrete, that we would have the best traction for wheelchairs when the concrete is wet.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's icy, we have to de-ice it, but even when you de-ice, it's still going to be wet. So that's a consideration we have to look into.
It's definitely an approved material for that use.
Right.
And the 521 CMR architect, the Architectural Access Board, those guidelines pretty much spell out what you need to do in there. There is a proposed version of it that even gets into more detail, but I don't think that impacts stamped concrete. I think it's more for brick.
All right,
If-
all right,
if I-
thank you very much. All right, I'm all set. Ted, you all set?
Yeah, we'll come up with more detailed plans and materials list and kind of go from there.
All right, everybody stay
That's great.
well.
Yeah, thank you for working with us on this, guys. I
Yeah,
think we're coming up
we
with
appreciate
an elegant solution.
Thanks a
you.
lot.
All right, take
Thank you
care.
very
Good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, Jeff's on the clock, so
And Jeff wants to go home.
I'm sure. Oh, you're at the office.
but-
Lucky
No,
you.
actually, all I gotta do to go home is close my windows.
There you go.
No, not at the office tonight. Gentlemen, I'm pleased to report, I think we're on the home stretch. Since the last meeting, Andy and I have exchanged a couple of emails. So I understand, I believe I understand what Andy and Paul, what the two of you had discussed. And beyond that, I had a revelation late yesterday afternoon about how to do a construction detail for the archway. And I think we can make it comply with the public procurement regs and yet, still allow Mott Works, Ironworks to have, I'd like to keep their name on the plan. But what I want to do is the construction detail sheet that had the photograph taken from the Historic District Commission's little pamphlet. I want to supplement that photograph with an actual construction detail that has enough information that a metal fabricator could then take the information we put on the new construction detail and work with their design engineer and the contractor to fabricate whatever they need. But so we got started this morning on sketching, working up that construction detail. I was out of the office all afternoon. It's not in a shape that I'm ready to share it with you yet, but I'm on the home stretch with it and I'm hoping I can at least get a sketch of that over to you guys tomorrow. And we'll be able to put that on the drawings.
So if you had to take a guess, Jeff, when do you think we'd be ready to be able to take the engineering plans and go out with our RFP?
Well, I don't know what you got left on your end, but I want to have you both the specifications and the final plans to you next week. Yesterday afternoon, I received what I was told to be final stamp plans from Shepherd Engineering with a number of revisions I had asked them to make since I last circulated the drafts to you a few weeks ago. I haven't double checked that they made those, all of those revisions that I asked for. I know there's at least a couple of them there that I looked for. So that I didn't have so much control over Shepherd, but as long as I don't have to go back to him, we're good there. Our civil stuff, I don't think I have much to tweak. It's just a matter of getting this construction detail worked out. And quite frankly, I'll share with you when I got back to the office, it doesn't have quite the shape that the photograph or the sketch has. And I need to rework that to make sure that they look to be basically one and the same.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't follow that.
The archway on our construction detail, it didn't have quite the same shape. It was more rectangular, if you will, and
Yeah.
less things going up an angle.
Yeah, it should be spade-like. It should look like a
Yes.
spade.
Yep. It was a little bit more of a spade, but if you looked at, the spade up on top on somebody's helmet, the helmet was pretty square.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
okay.
But I think we got it.
We can always include a historic picture in there too of what they used to look like. We do, they're not perfect, but we have a couple that are pretty close up and you can see most of the shape.
All right. I know I've seen one or two. I'll check through my files. I don't think I want to put those in there, Paul, because I don't want to give them too much information where they can start losing track of what we're trying to go for. What I'd like to do is work up this detail, and then now we'll drop it on the sheet and send you the whole sheet over to have a look at.
Okay.
If I could, I'd like to confirm a couple pieces of information about the archways. First of all, the lighting fixture. It is in fact the same lighting fixture as what's going on top of the post, except modified. Is that correct?
It's of the same family, but this one is designed normally to hang as opposed to going on a post, but it's the same family of lights. So yes, it looks very much like it, but it's meant to hang.
Okay, I think for what we're doing, we're good enough then. So it's got the same lantern look, but it doesn't have the 4 pieces of steel coming down. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. We've got it then because I was able to get from Hammerworks website a photograph of that specific light, and that's what we're working into the construction detail.
Okay.
Secondly,
Are those supposed to be aluminum?
The lanterns? No, they're brass, I believe, or copper, one of the two. They wouldn't have had aluminum back then. They make them out of materials that would have existed back then.
Right, but the arches are aluminum, right?
The arch is just because that's what we have to work with. Yeah.
So it doesn't really.
Okay. And the lighting fixtures will be supplied by the Historic District Commission.
Yeah, I'm working with Andy to get that through.
Okay. All right. And the reason I want to confirm that is I'm putting on the note that the owner being the town of Grafton will supply the lighting fixtures, 4 of them, and they'll be supplied before the fabrication of the archway starts.
Yeah, that is the plan.
Yep, that's the plan.
Oh, good. What else do we got? As far as clear passage underneath the archways, what I did is I took that photograph on your pamphlet or your brochure, and I was able to work up what I thought was a scale to it. And I come up with, a clear height to like the bottom of the hanging fixture would be about 9 feet or a little bit more. And that's one dimension I want to confirm with you in just a minute, but that got me to thinking that we probably would want to try to create a clear passage under the shoulders of the arch off to the side,
Yes.
maybe 8 foot high and 8 foot wide. And I'd like to know the district's thought, commission's thought about that.
The goal was to be able to accommodate an average sized pickup truck to be able to drive through. That was the
Okay.
goal.
All right. 8 feet should be more than enough in height. That's a normal pickup truck is probably
Right.
down around 7, I would think.
Yeah, 6%.
6 or 7, yeah, yep. Even a 1-ton dump with the headboard over the dump body might be up around 8 feet, I'm thinking. So I think we've got that. I did look into a Caterpillar 950 loader, which would be a little on the high side for what the town has, and now we're talking about 11.5 feet, so I guess we're not gonna go there on a loader.
Do you think
This is
9 feet's high
clever.
enough that people aren't going to be tempted to like get a running start and jump and hit the light like kids?
Well, considering the rim of a basketball hoop is 10 feet off the ground and some people can dunk, I think the answer is no.
Mm,
There'll be a few. But the taller it gets, the more structural issues will come up with the
Right.
design.
Gotcha.
Okay. And lastly, there'll be a note on there that we're gonna handle this as the archways is a design build. So there's the contractor, I want to make it real clear. And Andy, thanks for your help on that. I just want to point it out, not just in the specs, but to Andy's point on the plans as well. Contractor's responsible for the fabrication, but getting an engineer to prepare stamp plans suitable for permitting with the building department. So I think we've got it. Again, I'd like to have your blessing on the construction detail once we have that done, and I'd like to think we'll have that over to you tomorrow.
Sounds great, Jeff.
Great.
That's terrific.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And it's been a challenge in all these non-civil engineering details that we had to get on the plans, but I think we're there.
That's
Excellent. Be all worth it in the end, Jeff.
It will. I'm looking forward. It's only once I've done this. I ran the Grafton 5-miler and went right up through the common. So I think I'll try it again when it happens, and I'm hoping to run on a brick surface.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Any questions for me?
I think
I
that's
don't
it. You did say next week you plan to have everything done. Are you thinking early next week or end of next week?
Probably middle to end. It's not much to do, but this is one of about 5 deadlines that I've got to get things off my desk, and I'm kind of juggling with, as quick as I can, and what's holding me up. And if I'm held up, I just jump right onto the other one. So I apologize for the delay in the last week or so, but things went really well with John Shepherd over the last week, and I'm very, very comfortable with what he's got. I just want to double check those plans before I release them to you guys.
All right. Just keep in back of your mind that we have a narrow window with this because we want to get the excavation done before the growing season really starts,
Okay.
to limit the damage to the trees. So that's a key consideration. So the sooner we can get this out to bid, the better.
Gotcha. Okay. I will do everything I can.
Thank you, sir.
Great.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Bill. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, have a good night.
Good job.
Maybe Andy, you want to give us an update on the stuff you've been working on? I know you've met with Evan.
Yeah, so if we can get the bid drawings, the bid docs by the end of next week, I think we'll be prepared to the following week to be able to get those out and advertised to bid. I just, at that point, I'm gonna have to look at and talk to Evan a little bit about how much time he thinks is going to be appropriate to have a bidding period. It's one of those things we want to give people enough time to look at it and to carefully pick it apart, but not so much time that we end up starting later than we want to. So it's just gonna be a little bit of a balancing act, but that's pretty normal. So yeah, we've got a template for contracts and for that kind of stuff, front end spec that's already together. A lot of it's pretty generic, but we just have to drop in the pertinent information from the construction documents, and then assign things like dates for a walkthrough for bidders, the bid date, when we're gonna, all that kind of stuff. So that's all pretty short order stuff as soon as we have the final drawings. And so if he's, if Jeff's gonna have stuff middle of the next to end of next week, I'll be working at the same time to sort of tighten up that package, talk to Evan again, and just make sure that when those documents come in, we'll give them a good review, make sure everything's all together, and then we'll put them together and send them out. We'll advertise them to go out to bid.
If you had to guess, Andy, how long would you keep the bids open? 3 weeks, a month?
Yeah, not more than a month. I mean, it's a pretty, there's not a lot of moving parts to this one. Normally I don't like to do less than a month. I mean, we could do it in 3 weeks. You want to be able to give people, enough time so that you get enough interest. So you don't get one bidder or two bidders. You want to be able to get 3, 4, 5. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks for bidding.
I have the name of a company that was actually given to me by the gentleman that owns Mott Ironworks.
Right.
Central Mass Signal, it's the name of the company.
Okay.
So if we have someone like that, how do we notify them of that? I don't have I guess I could try and find an email, but
if we have, if we have a contact, or if you give me the name of the company, I can find a contact and we can just let them know that this is coming.
Okay.
That is a good, it's what we've done in the past. If we've got some people that we know could be right for the job, or we know might be interested, we'll certainly let them know that this is coming.
Okay. I'll send you that, and I'll see if I can find anything online, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
With regard to the Hammerworks contract, have you had a chance to talk to Evan yet about that?
So I talked to him briefly. He said, he asked me this, he came out to the library this morning. So I talked to him about it again. He said, can you send it to me? So I sent it to him this afternoon. I'll talk to him tomorrow and see what's up, see what he thinks. So, just get an indication from him where we stand with that.
Is that something you think he'd be able to sign off, or we have to go to the select board?
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. He's got a little bit more leeway than he did in his last job. So I don't know. I still think it's probably, if it's a contract, it's probably got to go to the select board. So
okay. Yeah, just because that is gonna, getting on their calendar is always a challenge. Sooner we can do that, the better.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a formality at that point, but if he's recommending it and I'm recommending it, they're gonna say yes, probably. I mean, it doesn't go the other way very often, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, just so we can't release the money and they have to sign it, right? We can't sign it. Right. And just so the rest of you guys know, I did have some contact with Bill Stendrup at Davy Resources, and they sent a contract to us. It's basically spells out the hourly wage for having an arborist on site to help supervise and make sure that the trees are being protected during the construction. But then also, if there's a need for air spading or pruning of the roots, there's a separate fee for that. So unfortunately, you have no idea what the dollar amount will be. It was just a little under 100 for the arborist being on site, and it was like around 115, 110 an hour to have the air spading pruning work done. So, having someone on site, I would think there'd be more hours for that. If there is pruning to be done, I think that would be a smaller amount, but I don't think it'll be over 10,000.
Right. I don't think so either.
I can't imagine that would be,
I
but
think it'd be more than 2 days, right?
it would be while they're doing just during the excavation piece.
Right.
Imagine we would need them after that. But Andy, you're going to run that by them as well as or Evan, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I think that one's pretty straightforward. I'm not worried about that one really.
Yeah, because it's a service, it's not a product.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had similar contracts in the past, so that one's I think is pretty easy.
Okay. Other bit of good news, guys, is we got final word from Evan on whether or not we needed to go back to town meeting to extend our funding. We don't have to do that. As long as we sign that contract prior to the sunset date coming into effect, then all funds will be considered encumbered. So that's big. And, you know, he felt that's straightforward. That's the way it always should be done. It wasn't even a question for him. So,
Yeah. No.
so
Good.
that was good.
Excellent.
That was good. It wouldn't have to go back again. All right. I think that was it on that topic.
Yep.
I'll rest on Andy's broad shoulders now.
Ah.
I will help you as much as I can. Just send me whatever you need.
I mean, Jeff's had the hard part of this. He's been pulling all this stuff together. He's doing some extra work to get that archway drawn so it can be bid. I mean, he's doing a nice job for us. I mean, I really appreciate the stuff that he's done. My part of this is easy. I'm just going to gather it all up and send it out. So yeah,
Awesome.
Jeff's been doing a really nice job, and we'll bring it across the finish line.
Excellent.
Well, we appreciate your help too.
I'm happy to do it.
Very much.
I haven't seen the bills for Jeff's additional involvement, but just so you guys know, our original budget for Graves was 26,000. Right now we're at 39,000. So we're about 50% over what we had originally envisioned. But, you know, most of that was because of the trees and life in the big city. But just to let you know, I'm sure there will be more. We won't end up that. I mean, he's still spending a considerable amount of time that we will be billed.
Okay, well, are we all set with Andy for tonight, Paul?
I think so. He looks hungry.
I'm definitely not hungry.
No, we need to talk about the library.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had
can't
a
leave
couple of
nothing.
things for the library, actually, if you guys have a moment. So up on the roof, there are a couple of panels, fence panels up there, just sort of for scale for you more than anything else. They're 6-foot high panels with a 3-foot crossbar. So if you're, you know, just as we're trying to sort of brainstorm about what that could be up there, that, you know, you can look up there now and you can see what 6-foot looks like and what 3-foot looks like. And it's in the approximate location. It's not right at the very edge of the roof, but it'll give you a little bit of a sense of scale. I think we could use a little help just in terms of, do you guys have any ideas about precedents, or, you know, what you think might be appropriate up there? I'm just not sure. I've kicked it around a little bit with the architects. They're not sure. They're not really historic preservation guys. So if you guys have any ideas, I know we've had a couple of thoughts. So I'm gonna try and sketch a few things myself based on some of the conversations we've already had. But if you get a chance to see those fence panels up there, just let me know. You know, if you're thinking, yeah, we really need to do 6 feet or more, or 3 feet or whatever. So just take a look when you get a chance. That would be great.
I did take a look at those, Andy.
I did too.
I can't explain why, but I kind of like the idea of having them being partially obscured, but not totally. I
Yep.
thought the 6 feet was a bit too much.
Yeah.
And I think I'd be more inclined with like a 4-foot high.
Right.
But that's just me. I don't know how
That's
other
kind
people.
of where I was lying too, somewhere in between the 3 and the 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think, you know, depending on what we're going to put up there, how will that look at 4 feet high? I mean, I guess if it was a wooden baluster with a railing, that would probably, in my mind, perhaps look better than the metal, and might be less expensive, but not have as much durability either, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to just figure out what's appropriate, you know, for the vintage of the building and whatever. I mean, I know there was no, you know, ye old roof screen, so I'm just trying to figure out what. I don't want the solution here to be worse than the problem. So I just want to make sure we get something. You know, we'll mark it up. We'll do some things so we get a better idea. But yeah, and I'll try and have, so for 2 weeks from now, I'll try to have some sketches and some mock-ups ready for you so that we can kind of kick some things around for real and take a look at some specific items.
Yeah. I think picking up either of those 2 elements, since they exist on the building as it stands, you know, we have the balusters, that are kind of, they're fake ones, but they're molded into the wood by the palladium windows on either end. Plus they're on that, I don't know if it's terracotta or what, but there's the railings around the edges of the patio or veranda or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And then in the windows on the front of the building, we have the, they're like wrought iron
Yeah.
elements. So I think either one of those would be in keeping with the building.
Okay.
I would agree.
All right, yeah, I'll work up something along those lines and have a couple of different things for us to look at.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else on the roof, John Stevens?
That was the main thing, is that we just at least touched on it.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna take a little while to work through it.
Okay. The other thing, Bill, I was going to send to you, and I can send it to the whole group. We have a revised, again, conceptual site plan for some of the additional landscape scope that is being considered. So I can send that to you tomorrow, just so you can sort of see where that feels like it's heading. Again, it's conceptual. There's still a bunch of wiggle room in there, but we originally had sort of 4 options, and now it's down to one with still to be worked on. So I can send that to you guys tomorrow. And again, if you have any thoughts, I'd be happy to.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Sure. Yeah. It's exciting. And I think that's all I've got.
What about the lighting on the exterior of the building that we haven't seen yet?
Oh God. Yeah, I gotta, I wanted to get some other photographs of the actual fixture, not just the fixture cut, because I think the fixture cut doesn't look right. So let me, I'll try and get that and send that out tomorrow along with the site plan.
That'd be great.
All right.
You got quite a to-do list.
It's a busy man.
That's not a lot. That's the short part of my to-do list for
Nothing for you, right? Yeah.
the library right now. Yeah, a lot of things going on. We're at an interesting point. I'm looking at what's going on right in front of me day to day, but I'm also starting to look now at what the project looks like, how we're going to close it out. So it's, I'm already looking at the end of the project right now.
Moving along.
Yep.
Yeah. What's your expectation for that project being complete?
Substantial completion date is June 8th.
Well,
And we'll be done ahead of that, but we won't be ready to open. I think June 8th means we'll be able to start moving. And I think it's probably going to take, it's going to take the rest of the month of June to move in and get everything all stood up and tested. So, I think by the 4th of July, it'll be ready to go. And then it'll just be up to whatever the state regulations are that tells us how many people we can have in the building.
You're gonna plan some type of ribbon cutting or something?
Yep, there'll be something for sure. Yeah.
But probably not. I mean, it's kind of that there's no rush to make a big formal during COVID.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we just don't know what we're going to do just yet. Yep.
Maybe we're gonna have a joint common library ribbon cutting in the fall.
Could be.
Big party on the common.
Yep.
Have both the library and the common did back to back.
Be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be good. Okay.
can't wait. Can't
Yes.
wait.
Same.
Yeah, I
Yes.
bet you are.
Have life return to normal. It's high on my list. I'm so
Yeah.
sick of this COVID stuff.
You know what? All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Andy.
Yep. Talk to you.
Appreciate all your help.
Happy to do it. I'll talk to you guys in a couple of weeks, and sooner I'll be sending you some information.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
So Mr. Clerk, we ready for the clerk's report?
Yeah, well, can we start with the annual report? Because I got an issue with it.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw my email. I don't know if it went on. I know you were traveling, Bill, but so when we met in July to review the sign certificate of appropriateness application that why am I drawing a blank? Jay
town
Hunter,
hall?
no, that Jay Hunter submitted.
Yeah.
So he had the existing sign he wanted to replace at the back corner of the building.
Right.
And then he wanted to erect a new sign at the front corner of the building, both along Upton Street there. And that's all documented in our minutes. And it talks about how there was some concern about line of sight and it potentially being an obstruction for people driving. We were concerned about that. And so according to the minutes, Bill, you were going to go talk to him. And then I did find a subsequent note that John Morgan had sent just after that meeting. It was like the Saturday after, because he had been thinking about how somebody at the townhouse had wanted to have a second sign. It may have been the Historical Society. And that because it was a second sign, they
That's right.
couldn't have the same size sign. It had to be a smaller sign. So he wanted you to make Jay aware of that so he could talk to Bob Berger about it. And that's the last I have for any documentation of it. But I asked Bill to send me a picture because I haven't been up there. The sign is up, but I
It
have
is.
nothing to show that we actually approved it. I don't have any documentation of that. And I don't know what kind of dialogue you had with him or what transpired, Bill. So
Well, I
obviously
do
wanna-
remember telling him that he couldn't have a second side that was identical to the one in the back of the building. I do remember mentioning that to him. And I remember John and I think Brad being there to see the sign that he was erecting in the back there. And it was metal and so forth. And but I don't recall, I honestly don't remember anything more than that. I assume we never gave him permission for the sign on the front. They just went ahead and did it, but I can't swear to that.
That would be my guess. I mean,
We had asked him to do because he wanted to use materials that we were trying to prevent as being acceptable moving forward. We had asked that he submit a hardship application because he had cost issues. Yeah, I don't know if he ever did that. I don't recall if we ever voted on that or saw a hardship application, but that's what he was supposed to have done.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I don't
Thank
think
you,
he did
Peter.
any of that. He just
Probably
he
not.
put the sign up.
Yeah.
I don't see that there's any concerns with line of sight now that it's up. It's hung very close to the building. It's well back from the
I
corner.
agree. And I actually drove by there today and there was someone walking underneath it. And although from the photo I sent you, it might look like it's close to the ground, but it was the top of his head was at least a foot from the bottom of that thing, maybe more. So it is, high enough, I think.
We may not like the material, but we approved the other sign and we knew that was metal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's attractive looking in terms of the colors.
Yeah.
I would prefer it to have been wood, but you really can't tell that unless you get pretty close.
Yeah, no, I have no issues with the looks of the sign. I just, the fact that he put it up with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
without
No, I
any
agree.
approval.
That's the way he operates.
And I don't know if he ever had a sign permit or anything.
Yeah, possibly not. We don't know.
So how do you guys want me to capture that in the annual report? I mean, are we comfortable leaving it as is? I mean,
I am.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just hang it on me if we get into trouble, but I would assume that nobody probably looks at it anyway.
no, I would, other than us, it would be safe to assume
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
correct. All right, I'll finesse some wording on it. I think I have to tweak what's there. So if you guys are comfortable with me tweaking it, we could approve it with, subject
Yeah,
to.
I mean, I read what you wrote and I thought it was very good.
We didn't have, those were the only two applications. Fiscal year 2020, so that runs from July of 19 to June of 2020, just so you guys know. So that's
Yeah.
the period that's coming. Those are the only two applications we had in that time frame.
Yeah, not much.
And they were actually submitted originally in June of 19 and could have been finished, except neither one could be present. And so we had to carry it over to July. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have anything.
Yeah. That was pretty quiet in that respect.
It was. Well, with COVID and everything, it's probably kind of understandable.
Johns and Brad, you okay with us proceeding with that report?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Leaving the
I'm fine.
wording as is then?
Yes.
Because it doesn't say we approved it.
I don't think we ever did. And I think that was part of our discussion is that, it's like, it wasn't the sign that he promised either. Because doesn't have gold trim around, like,
It's black with gold lettering, which is what he had said.
no, but the
Instead of white.
edge of the sign, it seems like it's,
I don't remember did he say it was going to have gold edging?
I don't think we would have approved it, but I don't think there was, it's like a lot of things there, it just happens. And after the fact, we have to chase them.
I know we haven't heard back from him regarding his planned covered brick patio there that he wanted to put up.
I think COVID put the kibosh on that for at least a
Sure
little
it
while.
did. And also painting the building.
That's got to be done. And the building looks horrible. There's
Yeah.
pieces falling off in the front up along the edge of the roof. It's all rotted and falling down.
Yeah, no, he's never maintained the exterior of that building.
Just gets more expensive the longer he waits.
Yeah. We also you had a couple of meetings, the minutes from several meetings, and we can approve those.
Yeah, there were two sets, the last two meetings, January and February.
I guess, do we already approve those?
No.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready at the
You
last
sent-
meeting.
Yeah, they look good to me.
John Stevens, you find any typos?
Mr.
Yeah,
Typo.
hang on, I'm looking at my phone to the, where'd you go? It's just, I think it's a correctly spelled word, but it's the wrong word or the wrong tense or something. Here the minutes are from January.
January and February, yep.
Yeah, well, the minutes that I'm
Oh, it's the
referring
January ones
to,
that you're
January
referring
under library expansion project. Second paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth line from the bottom. And it says has not been orders, and it's has not been ordered.
Or it should be ordered and it says orders.
Ordered. Yeah.
Okay. I'll fix that.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve those pending the,
Can you do all three, the annual report and the two sets of minutes?
John, you want to do that?
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who-
Oh, we have
who
to roll
second?
call.
Who
Which we should have.
seconded?
Yep.
I didn't
Okay.
hear a second.
I seconded.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, how does everyone vote? John, Morgan,
Yep.
John Stevens,
Yes.
Brad Schlepak?
Yes.
I also agree, yes.
I'm
And
aye
Paul
as well.
Scarlett?
Aye.
Okay. I declare the motion carried.
Awesome. I'll get
Um,
those to the clerk.
We do have something that we will discuss at the next meeting. The 17 and 27 Upton Street. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but it came on our radar screen today. I think it must be the tree barn and the DPW, the former DPW site.
Yeah, all three buildings. I saw what they put out, all the, the stuff that went along with that. But the one thing that was missing, they only got one bidder. And I don't see what
Right.
the bid was.
I haven't opened it up yet. I noticed that there was one bid, but I didn't, yeah.
Yeah, I went through it. I didn't see anything about that piece.
Was
So-
there any proposal as to what to do with the tree barn?
Well, they had three different proposals. One was essentially having very light stuff out by the street. Maybe like the barn, it left the barn as just like, find some use for the barn. And then the rest of the property was going to be used for passive recreation. Looked like they had some kind of like a bridge on it, and then access to trails, because there's a forest right next to it that is town owned, or it may be Grafton Land Trust owned.
Yeah,
That's right
it goes
there.
up next with Chestnut.
Yeah, and according to, they had some kind of a open house, and according to the notes there, that was the least popular of the three options. The second option was having more use out by the street. It looked like they have some kind of like a mall, like a strip mall kind of thing. And again, the barn, in each of these, the barn was left like they didn't know what to do with it. None of them said tearing it down, but finding some kind of use for it.
Yeah.
And then the
Did
third
you get
option,
the proposal? Paul, did you get it's an actual proposal. Did you get that?
I didn't get what I saw, all the documents and what we put out as a town, but I don't see, the proposal of whoever.
I think I sent
bid.
that. Didn't I send that to everybody today, this morning?
You might have. I didn't see that. I was looking at something that Joanne had said, I think, previously.
Well,
At
we'll
any
have,
rate, the third version was to have like housing there too, like senior housing.
What has been proposed, and that's what we're talking.
I haven't had a chance to look it over, but we'll have some time to do that.
It's a huge building right on the street, which
What
I
they
don't know if
propose-
the massing. It's like a 4-story building. It's quite massive. You have
4
to
stories?
scroll through. I don't know if it's like a 20-page document that they're, the first 18 pages are all about them. And then, just a few pages of what the project is.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, it sounded like maybe over 55 apartments that are high end, and that there will be some affordable units. So that'll work with trying to get the affordable numbers up for the town. And the barn would be the third phase of the project. And it would, I'm trying to think of how they put it, but like a beer garden or something, like to try to get a business in there to make it a pub or something.
I see it now. I opened up that attachment. Yeah, it's a huge building.
But it looked to me and that's what scared me. It's right on the street. It's huge, and it's right on the street.
It
And it's
is
just
for,
housing. That's all that they have.
I wouldn't have thought that lot was
it's-
big enough for this building.
I think that's why it's so close to the road, because there's not a lot of green space. And then in the center, like in the donut, there's a donut hole. It's a parking that looks like it's underground. Donut hole has a swimming pool, and probably that's the green space for the residents. And then the building itself is pretty much probably, as close as it can be to property lines.
Huh. Well, we'll have to look at this, all of us, and talk about it at the next meeting.
Well, I mean, it doesn't fall in the district, so we don't,
Well, that's true, John. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right.
But it's the gateway to the district. They're looking for input. They're not looking for us to say no or for an application, but it's for us to say, these are our concerns, or we think this is good because, I mean, it's certainly better than what's there. And unfortunately, only one developer responded. And from what I read, it could see, I don't know how much they're paying for the property.
Well, I don't think there's any point in us discussing it now because we haven't all taken a look at it. But
Right. And
well,
I'm not sure
forward
when
that email, 'cause all I have is the memo itself. I don't have any plans.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe they just sent it to me. I don't know. I didn't notice. You've got it, right, John Stevens?
I do. She sent it. I thought I forwarded it, but when I'm on my phone, half the times it won't grab. Like you'll say, do you want to include these documents? And you say yes, and it doesn't. So if I get on a laptop, I think that can get around that and to resend it.
I've got it right here.
There's a link on the memo, isn't there?
That's why. Yeah, there's just a blue highlighted on I think the first page down at the bottom, there's a blue highlighted link, and click on that and you see it. Scroll a bit.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. You actually have to click on a link, and maybe 2 links to get to that, because you're going back to the town website to get the document.
Yep.
I'm not saying it's not the actual document itself.
Yeah, as John said, it's not in the district, so, but they're like our input, so think it
Because
over.
they sent this to CPC and planning and everybody, historical got it. So, but just for people to have input, what do people think about it?
I mean, I feel like 4 stories is just too much. I mean, I don't think we have any buildings in the entire town that are 4 stories high. Maybe something at Wyman Gordon's that's a quarter of a mile back from the road, but doesn't seem appropriate to me. But
You guys hear me now?
I can, yeah.
All right. My headset's getting really low on battery, so I turned it on to my computer speakers, that then you couldn't hear me. So John, in what was submitted from that bidder, did they do anything with the barn, or is that completely out of the
Well,
picture?
that's what, without getting back, and I'm trying to get back to that document. It was something like a beer garden, and that's not the right description, but it was it would no longer be a tree barn. it would be a commercially rehabbed building with some type of a business in it. And it seemed like a beer garden kind of a place.
Like a restaurant, you mean, when you say beer garden, like a bar? Or?
Well, that's we're coming up wrong with what the description is. Let's see if I can.
So I've seen other places where they've had senior living, and they've had a barn on the property, and they've made that into like a rec hall for the folks that live there. They did that where my mother-in-law is living in Shrewsbury there. I'm forgetting the name of the complex she's in, but right over by Community Animal Hospital. It's behind
it's
it. If you
barely-
go-
Right.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. They did a nice job of the barn. And the barn's about the same size.
Yeah, the
So you
first
have to click on
paragraph.
that link twice.
Let's see.
And then you get to the planning department web page that says redevelopment of former DPW at 27 Upton. And then you have to go into the document, which is the third document, which is the redevelopment response dated January 15th. And I need to plug in my phone.
Yeah, it's a
John, when did you send that? Or did you send it to my,
I thought I sent it this morning.
my home
Maybe
email,
it
do you
just-
know?
Somebody,
Maybe,
I just sent it
maybe
5 minutes ago.
yeah, it's
Paul may have gotten the wrong one because it may have gone to a work one or a wrong work one because it just grabbed an email and it wasn't telling me which email it was. It just had your name.
Yeah.
But I just sent it to Captain Scarlett a minute ago,
All right. Well, that's my home one. I'm just trying to find out. What time did you send it?
about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, you just sent it.
Yep.
Who's Natalia?
Somebody from the town.
She's the secretary in the planning office.
All right.
if you get to page about 57, it starts talking about the project narrative.
Right. No, it's you go through. Most of this is about them.
So we should
And this is the same group.
We should probably just take a good hard look at this and then discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think that's the
This
best.
is the same group, I think, that is buying the former state hospital property and tearing everything down and building new apartments by the train station.
They're
Is
not
that-
looking to restore any of those buildings?
We tried, and the group that wanted to do it wanted to use CPC money and tax credit financing, and whoever that was deciding this decided they wanted the $1 million that they were going to get to sell that property or whatever right away because they needed money to pay the bills. So all the buildings are going. They're getting all torn down.
Some of them
I also had a
would have
hard
had to
time
have gone
understanding
anyway.
some of these. Right. Well, they could, but one company was going to take down 2 buildings and keep all the rest. So, I mean, it's possible. It's just, what's the goal? But this building, it does look like it's right on the street.
I mean, the lot is pretty big. It does go back into the woods and it goes down Upton Street towards Upton a bit. But I think there's a lot of damp marsh
Right.
here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, all the ones that I saw that the town put together, just like kind of ideas, those all had stuff close to the street too. And then in the back, they tried to have open land.
Oh, but I think,
Page,
then-
page 77 gives you a quick view of a site plan. It is right on the street with a whole bunch of parking in the back.
and there is commercial on the first floor, I believe. So it's, I'm just trying to find the narrative. This is not easy to follow the.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It is right on the building, on the street.
Let's see. 136 unit luxury senior living rental community.
I've actually found it. I can share it on the screen here. Give me a second.
Seems like a lot of buildings.
Has anyone found what they intend to do with the barn, tree barn?
I read it this morning and now I'm having trouble finding it. It looks like it might be on page 58, 59.
All right, so should I click on here, guys? Is this how you get to it?
Yes.
Yes, and you have to
Yes.
click on that twice.
And then you go down and you highlight there are three options at the bottom.
Okay.
That's the
This
lower
one, the bottom
Oh.
one? Is that the
Yeah.
one?
Not
Yeah,
seeing.
it does say, but I wasn't crazy.
Can you guys see what I'm showing?
No, we're just.
Along
all I
the
see
way,
is
they will
memo.
pass
It's opening
the
right
historic
now.
barn repurposed to be used as a beer garden and gathering space.
Are you on 58,
All right.
John?
Can you guys
That
see
is
this?
page
No,
I've
58.
got it up on my own screen.
So no one's looking at the screen here because I'm
I'm
sharing it.
looking at your screen. I just seen the memo.
Well, it's weird. It says I'm sharing.
And there were 1 to 2 bedroom units.
What'd you say? Page 77, John?
58.
58.
But it does say that repurposed into a beer garden and gathering space.
I don't see anything where it talks about that.
I don't see that either. What?
Into the
Bottom of
paragraph.
the page.
On page 58, last
57.
paragraph. towards the
57,
bottom.
sorry.
So, all right.
57.
57 at the bottom.
The luxury
Under
senior
summary
mixed
of
use will
site
be a
and
wood frame
architectural
building
design.
of a high level security features
like
to be
the last-
sprinklered.
3 feet from 3 lines from the bottom.
All
So
right,
it's the
here it
paragraph
is.
that says luxury.
Along the way, they will pass the historic barn repurposed into use as a beer garden and gathering space. As they get to the luxury senior living building, they will be faced with an inviting front building facade, features awnings, storefronts, and 15-foot deep porches that allow the restaurant to accommodate outdoor dining. So they're gonna have a restaurant there too? It sounds kind of nice. It sounds like when they're saying beer garden, that may be part of the building, that may be like a rec center for them.
I would
I
hope
think
they
they
would
have that
take-
all in their own building.
Yeah. It says they plan to renovate the historic barn structure. The project team plans to repurpose the barn structure to be an inviting gathering space that would be attractive to a retail tenant for a beer garden, wine garden, or farmer's market.
Oh, that's good. They do it. Huh.
That would be nice. Oh, there's more pictures.
Well, what do
towards
you
the
know?
end.
Maybe we'll all end up living there 20 years from now.
I don't know what this.
I want the apartment that has the view of Wong's.
Yeah.
Look at page 67. In the back, there's like a white thing with like grid marks on it. I don't know what the heck that is supposed to be.
Or the building.
It doesn't look like it belongs with the building though. It's
That could be the garage, the parking garage.
maybe.
There's
Yeah,
a
it's-
parking
That's
garage.
building. Oh, I see.
Oh,
what
the
you mean.
garage goes underground. I see. It's a nice looking building. It
could just be-
actually very nice
It
looking.
could just be part of the building that it's got different, like the library, some of it's brick, some of it's wood.
Yeah, it's tacked on to the end.
Yeah, I
It's got
wonder
a-
what that was too. What the heck is that?
They've got two drawings, and the other one it looks different. It says the south.
It's
south
just a different, if you go to page 75, there's a better view of it. It's just a change in design. More
Oh, okay.
apartments in the back.
Oh, it's a huge square.
Well, that, yeah, is it, we're talking about different designs here for buildings?
Yeah, it transitions into a more modern design in the back.
I'm sure because it's not brick. The front is brick and everything else is
Mhm.
Yeah, I see. I look at the sides.
board.
It's just a straight facade.
Yeah, so if you keep scrolling to like the next page, it shows you an aerial view, and it's just a big square with a center hollowed out.
Pool in the middle.
Pool is and everything.
But then you look at page 76, and it's not a square.
Keep going.
Oh, the heck!
It's huge. It's
I thought these were parking spaces. These,
It is huge.
wow,
It really dominates that lot.
sure does.
I'd like it better if it was further back away from the street.
Not a lot of room behind it though. It's
No. I mean,
Oh,
it's,
wetlands back there, isn't it?
I thought so.
not. If you look at page 79, there's not a huge amount of room behind it. They could move it back a little, but
Mm.
It comes pretty close to the property, to abutting the baseball diamond property.
yeah, it does. Home run ball could go through one of the
Yeah.
windows.
and there's that 2-story house right next to it.
Yeah, they won't love this idea.
They're gonna
Boy,
get
talk
kind
about
of
overpowering.
more.
it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. The front of it looks kind of traditional, but the side of it looks much more modern. That's what I was seeing.
How do you guys feel about the overall size of it? I mean, it's massive. It's 4 stories. The center of Grafton,
Oh.
geez.
I wonder how many units they're talking in here.
Well, you can see quite a lot of them.
56
say
or whatever I was
136.
reading on it.
A small
130.
hotel.
Quite a few.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't have a problem with the concept of having, that a facility like that there. I just don't like one that big. I just think it's right off the historic center, we get this massive big structure.
Say is that it's going to take that many units to make it financially viable for them.
Mhm. Well, it's unfortunate that it's the only proposal they have. I mean, they'll probably be inclined to accept it.
I don't know. I just without knowing how much, and that's piece I haven't found is, what's the price for
136 units, that's huge.
for Grafton? What are we gonna get?
And these are gonna be high-end units, except for a few affordable housing ones. I don't know, it's far bigger than anything I ever imagined going in there.
Yeah, exactly. A hell of a lot bigger. That's my objection. It's just too damn big. I mean, it would really just overpower everything in the whole center.
Imagine all the seniors that will be at the library.
I mean, we're talking about these condensers on the roof of the library. This thing is 4 stories high. You'd see it from the common. You'd see it from all over the place. See it from outer space. It's just huge.
It is huge. Sure, yep. I mean, it's not unlike some of the developments you see in Shrewsbury, but they're not in the middle of their common
Yeah.
area.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it if it was down like by the state hospital or, something like that. But
Yeah, it just seems overkill.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Better looking in the train cars though.
Yeah, that's true.
I just wish it wasn't so big. I mean, it would be nice to have something like this in Grafton. I think we do need something like this. I just don't like it there.
Should be either 2 or maybe 3 stories max.
Yeah.
John Stevens, you had heard them say they needed it this size to make their numbers work?
That's what started to be. It's just like that's why they had to blow up, all the old buildings at the state hospital. It was, well, if we don't do that, it's going to cost us so much to remediate lead or asbestos and da 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 da. And so boom, it all goes. And you have to remediate it anyway to demolish it. So
Yeah.
you can't just knock that stuff down and put it in a dumpster.
No.
How do you feel about
especially
Brad?
after he's on mute. He may be eating his dinner.
He's probably watching TV.
We have until April 2nd. So we do have, that's what I was looking for. We have till April 2nd to comment. And I also, that because of the way they're having 10% set aside for affordable units, this helps with Grafton's trying to get more affordable units in town. So that'll be a strong plus to go with this project.
It would be interesting to see what the pro forma is on this.
What is that? Not sure what you're referring to.
It's 4 stories?
Yes.
Yeah.
And 136 units?
That's what I was told.
You're talking 34 units a floor. That can't be right.
No, if they're good sized units, because
Well, the first floor is retail and stuff, right? So it's really
Yes.
Some of it, like the
3
street
floors
side's
of-
going to be
of
retail.
living space.
that's a good point. Yeah.
3 floors of living space. So you're talking about 45 units a floor, which makes more sense.
Like 10 on each side.
What do you say,
Northeast, south, and
2
west.
3 bedroom units, 2 bedroom units,
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
There is a little chart that shows what's proposed.
Would it be senior housing, John?
Yes, it's luxury senior housing.
Well, I like that incorporates revitalizing that barn. That is a plus.
Well, that was part of the RFP that it kind of had to be.
Yeah.
Or it's one story too high.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
There's 61 bedroom, one bath, and 62.
2 stories too high for me.
Two
bedroom,
stories too
2
high for
bath.
you? Or one? What'd you say, Bill? 2 or 1?
Yeah, I think it's 2 stories too high for me.
You'd only want 2 stories.
Yeah.
It would never fly with 2 stories. There's just not enough money to be had there.
You're right.
How many stories is the fire station? 2?
2.
1.5.
One, yeah, what, maybe 1.5. The library is 2.
Library's 2.
Crafton
Yeah.
Inn's 3.
And you see how tall the library is.
Yeah.
Grafton Inn is 3, that's right.
That Grafton's 3, but it's an old 3, so they don't go up as high. You know, a
Right.
new building like this with code and so forth, the stories have to be at least 1 or 2 feet higher. So
Yeah, so the
in
75.
comparison, Grafton is probably more like 2.5 in comparison.
How tall is the country store?
That's
3 stories.
that is 3. Yeah.
Townhouse is 3. Isn't it? 3.5.
Well, it's 3 if you include the basement, right?
No.
Oh, no, it's 4 if you include the basement. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
Well,
way bigger than the townhouse, though, this building.
oh my God. It's probably like 6 townhouses. And we look at in comparison to the fire station. The fire station's tiny in comparison.
What drawing are you looking at?
Look
Page.
at page 76. Or I think it's another good one.
You must be looking at a different version than me.
Or no,
Just
how about 80? 80, page 80.
80 is just a schematic.
Well, it doesn't look to the building so much, but yeah. Let's see.
A huge footprint, though.
Right.
Most of it you're not going to see.
The Grafton Suites.
Looks like it's 4 times as big as the fire station.
Yeah, I'd say a little more than that.
I do like the front of the building, the
That's
way it looks. Part that faces the street.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do too. Not sure I like that kind of dormer action, but other than that,
Excuse me.
top floor.
Dormer where they have the balconies, you mean?
Well, aside of the balconies, you've got these sort of dormers that extend out that look a little strange.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Other than that, I like it.
I also think that's to help so it doesn't feel so big. If it were flat roofed all the way up, to the top, then it would seem, like a real big, huge commercial building. This kind of mimics the addition of the library because it has the dormers
Yeah,
like
it does.
that.
Yeah, it kind of meshes nicely. The other views I don't like so much. Much more modern looking.
Yeah, the sides, but as John said, you wouldn't probably see that much. I suppose you would to some degree.
But I'm sure that the need
Trees
is
would grow.
there. There's a need for senior housing. There's it's in the center of town. It's walkable for older people. It's across from the library. So I mean, I think it's a good fit project for that site. It's
Just got to get your head wrapped around something of that magnitude there.
Yeah, that's right. Hmm.
John Morgan's being strangely quiet. Is he gone? I don't see him on here anywhere. Oh, there he is.
I'm still here. We're just looking at the pictures. Well, it's going to be hard.
27
So you're gonna have to
27
hook a
Upton
line
would
there.
be the
One at a
27
time.
would be the only active adult senior living project within a 25-mile radius of downtown Grafton.
Really?
That doesn't seem right. Isn't there such stuff like this in Shrewsbury?
Maybe actively being built? Is that what they're talking about?
no active as opposed to assisted living. This is,
Oh,
you know,
this is
over 55, but not for people needing assistance.
right.
There's no
If you
time.
need assistance, you got to move out.
Right. Then you go to, but that's what they need is they need a place in Grafton. So people can stay in Grafton.
That's right. Where else am I going to live 20 years from now?
This is for the cranky old Graftonites who want to keep the kids off their front lawn. This is where they're going to move.
Well, they got interior views too.
Oh, I didn't see any interior.
Page 51, 52, 50. Actually, 48 has some too. Actually looks nice.
It's like a hotel.
Really?
It does look like a hotel. You're absolutely right.
Where did you see those photographs? Or the
40, 48 on up to like 52, 53.
Those are
Actually, even
representative
going back,
projects.
46 has got a view of like, are these other buildings? Because it looks like the
Yeah,
ocean.
Yeah, these are other
these are
buildings
examples.
built elsewhere.
Yeah, this,
Yeah, that's like
It- it-
California or something.
An idea of the kind of stuff they build.
Yeah.
Pretty swanky.
I can't say it's not nice. It is.
Good report.
Is that where they're located? Newburyport?
Well, no, that's where one of their projects was.
Yeah.
One Boston way. They've also got one in Lynn.
Lynn,
Great.
Lynn, the city of sin. Never go out
Yeah.
the same as you went in.
Wow. Yes, we're going to retire to Lynn. No, thank you.
Oh, it's funny. This
Okay.
building in Westboro looks just like the building in Grafton, the headquarter building.
Say that again.
It's just one of the buildings that's showing on page 39 of Westboro State Hospital. I've never seen it. Apparently they're working on that too.
No, that's their multiple state hospital sites that they've blown up the buildings. They're
Northampton.
gone. They're gone. I don't think they're historic preservation folks.
Oh, yeah, Westboro, yeah.
They're all toast. Belchertown, Norwich, Connecticut.
Some of those buildings down in North Grafton at the state hospital are in pretty tough shape.
Two of them have had the roofs collapse,
Yeah, right.
but the rest of them are okay. So it's not a.
Well, would they take the ones that are owned by or being used by the Job Corps and the?
No, Job Corps is
Ooh,
totally separate. They have their own buildings. This is just strictly, I don't know if it's 6 buildings. And it seems like the planning board has a hearing to discuss the plan that's coming up. It was in the paper today. The Westboro State Hospital was really nice. It's too bad they nuked that.
They tore down a lot of that,
Yeah,
ton of it.
they built a lot of big apartments there.
I didn't know that. Well, guys, anybody interested in wrapping this up?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, let's definitely discuss this more next time we meet.
Someone want to make a motion to
so
adjourn?
move.
I'll second it.
Okay, so roll call, John Stevens,
Aye.
John Morgan,
Aye.
Brad Schlapak.
Hello, aye.
Wake up.
Comes back for that.
He
I'm
said, I
sorry,
heard
I'm
my
on the-
On the island.
Let me
I'm on
mute
the
the
road.
TV.
I'm on the road here, so
You're on the road?
I'm on the road picking up my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Paul?
Aye, aye, matey.
Okay. And I also agree to close the meeting out. So I declare the motion carried.